The sound of hammering echoes through neighborhoods in rural and urban Corozal and Orange Walk on Tuesday as then tropical storm Ernesto took aim at the Yucatan Peninsula and northern Belize.
We are well prepared. Our committees are well geared in action, full action in Corozal.
Corozal Mayor HILBERTO Campos chaired the District Emergency Management Organization, and he told the Love News that from early, all the emergency plans were activated in anticipation of the storm.
We're warning the people of Corozal to be very attentive of the monitoring of this storm, and as the storm approaches, we'll make the decisions as to whether to evacuate certain people from different areas.
One of the areas that was under consideration for evacuation is Consejo village. But residents of this seaside community had made up their minds from early that they would weather Ernesto in their own homes. That is why when the bus provided by NEMO to evacuate residents arrived, the chairman of Consejo village, Carlos ARANA, said, "No, thank you."
But for right now, everything is calm. You just see the bus pass. Nobody wants to go because we believe that it's not coming then.
Okay.
That's the.
How many residents how many residents does Consejo have?
We have Consejo village and we have Consejo shores. Consejo village has about 94 residents and Consejo shores have about 60 something. The total is about 160 something like that.
Have you checked what preparations these residents are making to protect property, lives in the event that we get some very strong winds?
Well, they are calling me and telling me that they are ready. You know, the Americans, they always sharp. We here in the village, we are seeing that one another, that contacts one another, and we don't have much to mind, you know. If anything, we just help one another because almost everyone has his own vehicle. If anything, we just run to Corozal at CCC and we hang there.
Okay.
But we have one more thing. Like let's say, we are on it. We are. I have my son dedicated on this thing, so I am just taking this opportunity to say that we are on it, right?
Based on the past storms that have passed around this area in Consejo, the previous storms, like for example Dean and stuff like that, how do you say you have the experience to weather this storm?
Well, in the other ones that we see, this always look like this, like nothing is happening, but sometimes it's like the last time when Dean came, it was the same, but it came. So, but we were hearing it on the radio and still in the internet. So when we see it close, before we reach, we evacuate.
Okay.
So, but right now we're still on that.
ARANA was confident that he and his community were ready, and they even had their own backup plans should the need arise.
They are calling me and telling me that they are ready. You know, the Americans, they always sharp. We here in the village, we are seeing that one another, that contacts one another, and we don't have much to mind, you know. If anything, we just help one another because almost everyone has his own vehicle. If anything, we just run to Corozal at CCC and we hang there.
With the only way into or out of Sartineja and Shinush villages by road being via a trusty hand-cranked ferry, residents worked quickly throughout the day on Tuesday to finalize their hurricane preparedness plan. At the Corozal Free Zone, a decision was taken early in the morning to bite the bullet and call off business for the day so that employees could secure their families. David Ackerman is the executive chairman of the Corozal Free Zone.
Approximately 265 operational companies. And we could say businesses would be I would say about 325 in total, because parent companies are allowed to have a subsidiary, one or two subsidiaries. So operating, you would say, shops is about 325.
That's anywhere from $750,000 to $1 million in lost productivity and sales over the course of the 2-day closure of the free zone. By early evening, the skies above Corozal showed signs of the approach of Hurricane Ernesto. NEMO Corozal announced the opening of hurricane shelters by mid-afternoon for persons wishing to seek refuge from the anticipated wind and rain. Willard Levy is the District Emergency Management Coordinator.
All the first responders, all of them are present, working their plan.
For the people who will be taking advantage of the shelters that you're opening, what is your advice to them? What should they bring along when they come to these shelters?
Make sure that you bring food for at least 3 days, food and water most importantly. That's the primary request, apart from your regular clothing and rainwear. Pets are not allowed, alcohol is not allowed, firearms and all that stuff is not allowed. They will be advised as they come in. Anything that is coming in that is not supposed to be in will be retained at the entrance and secured by the manager.
With all the preparations made, the ground rules laid out and the personnel in place, it was then a watch and wait scenario as night fell. And right on cue, the rains started on Tuesday evening and continued through the night. In Chen village, just under 50 people went to the hurricane shelter, where Chairman Leonardo Hall says the concern was for heavy wind. These people are from where?
Right here from the village.
Now, are these people who come here because they don't have confidence in the dwellings that they're in, or why did they come here?
Mostly because they live in their dwellings are not secured. Some of them have thatch roofs, and probably if we get a tropical storm winds, the thatch them might fly off and they'll be in trouble.
But there was no trouble, and throughout the Corozal North, the area representative Ugo Pad said checks were made to ensure that everyone was safe. You have been around in your constituency. What have you seen, or what's happening?
Well, I can tell you that we have been working closely with NEMO. As a matter of fact, we were in the village of Consejo this morning, merely monitoring the situation. With the fact that Consejo is one of the villages in my constituency which is close to the sea, and as was mentioned by Nemo this morning, is that we would try as much as possible to intervene in those communities as they are prone to when the system comes around to be affected. So those are the areas that we were concentrated on. But merely we have been getting in touch with the leaders in the different communities, as would be the case in Chen, to see that everything is in place and making sure that the people have the necessary infrastructure so that they can be here overnight.
Just after 9 o'clock on Tuesday night, the heavy rain and some wind from Hurricane Ernesto started to affect the Corozal district and continued into Wednesday morning. Reporting for Love News, I am Patrick Jones.